Hey, I'm very excited to be chatting to Kieren here with the band name that no one can pronounce, and I'm not even going to give it an attempt. So I'll say, "How are you, Kieren?" and "How do we pronounce your band name?"
Hey, good. Thanks for having me. So yeah, it's Schkeuditzer Kreuz. Shit, I genuinely didn't realize it was a problem when I chose that name. I first saw those words written on a motorway sign in 1999, and I said it right the first time, and I just thought that that'd be what it would be. I mean, yeah. Although that said, when I started this craziness of Schkeuditzer Kreuz, I kind of didn't think I was going to get much further than maybe playing in my lounge room. So, before but yeah, now here I am doing a whole lot of weird shit and about to release my third album.
Exactly. So when was it? I don't because I don't have those facts in front of me. So how many years back is it now? So it's obviously this is going to be the third album, but because it was it pre-lockdown or in
It happened in lockdown.
in
It was
lockdown? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
so
knew.
yeah, so when lockdown first happened, and I couldn't get together with the band that I was playing in at the time, so I go a bit sort of funny if I don't have music to play, like not in a kind of nice, cool way. I get really sketchy. So first thing I did was I did a thing where I recorded a whole lot of songs on guitars, synth, not I didn't have, guitars, keyboard, all sorts, every instrument I had in the house. And for drums, I didn't actually own a drum machine at the time, and I found this online 909 emulator, and I used that for the drums. And I made 12 songs, and I've always been convinced that I can't sing, so I sent them to friends all over the world to put vocals on. Um, which and my friends, almost all of them were in their own lockdown, and they did it. They put vocals on, and it was on varying degrees of access to recording. A couple of people actually had access to studios because they weren't locked down at that time. A few people used their phones and sang into that, and then sent me that. I had one friend who has a like a 1970s Japanese karaoke lathe cutting record machine, and he screamed directly straight into that, then just posted me the fucking record, and I put that on. And okay, look, the quality was not great, but it didn't matter. That was not the point of it all. It was all about it was about connecting with my friends. And then so yeah, I did that and I released that and I put it out on tape and CD. And it was fun and it was cool. And I listen back now and I go, oh yeah, look, the quality sound, the recording isn't actually very good, the mixing isn't very good, blah 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 blah. But it was cool at the time. It was a great connection with people, and it was kind of I learned a lot. And because I know what order the songs were done in, which is not the order they're on the CD, I can hear as I learned shit as it was going.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, so that I got that out, and fucking because I was doing that during lockdown, and it was so tied up in my head as being part of lockdown that when I got it finished and lockdown was still going, I was almost surprised. It's like, hang on, but I've finished. We're meant to now lockdown should be finished as well. But it wasn't, of course. Although by that stage things were starting to loosen up a bit. But yeah, and I just thought, oh well, fuck, I'm going to do something new. But as things are starting up, I'm going to put together something that I can tour with, that I can play live with, because the other project was impossible to play live. And so yeah, I just thought, well, synth drum machine, and I'm just going to have to fucking teach myself to sing. So I did, and yeah, straight away, I recorded 5 songs, released an EP, went on tour in between lockdowns, did I guess it was probably a 15-date tour or something like that. sold out of that first record on that tour and then got back and was like, fuck, that was fun. I'm going to keep doing this. And yeah, and then I did. It's been a ridiculously busy few years.
and 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 you've yeah, because you've done a lot of tours and overseas stuff as well. Like that's in that period of time, it's quite a lot, isn't it? Really, for yeah,
Yeah, it is. It is. Like I mean, because I've toured, obviously with bands in the past to various parts of the world. But the hardest thing is always, particularly, I'm not young and I tend to be in bands with people my age and we've all got kids and families and jobs and all the other things. And finding a time where four or whatever people can actually go away for some weeks is difficult. Everybody has their 4 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever that they can go away, but to get them all to line up and then it's difficult. So once I was, me solo, it's just like, well, it's just I'm going to do it, and I've got, I know people from all the other times I've toured. So yeah, I went to Europe, went to like 2 years ago, went to Japan last year, New Zealand and Japan last year. This year I went and played in Thailand and Hong Kong, and I'm about to take off to Europe again. Next year, in January, I'm going to New Zealand, and then in either February or March, there looks like a possibility of going and playing in India.
wow,
There's a person in New Delhi who wants to put on because as well as doing Schkeuditzer Kreuz, I do sometimes touring synth for the UK band Attrition.
yeah.
Um, And so they've been asked, and so where they're like, well, if we're coming and Kieren's going to be there playing synth, put on Schkeuditzer Kreuz as well. And so, there's nothing locked down, but it's looking pretty likely that that'll be February or March, which would be fucking incredible. Like getting to
Yeah,
go there. I've never even been there, so
yeah, on
that'll be cool.
so many levels that would be amazing, wouldn't it? Like that would just, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and then
exciting.
hopefully I'll get back to Japan next year as well. But not till the end of next year. I'm not organizing anything for it yet. Because I think I'm looking at about October next year, hopefully.
Wow. Yeah.
But yeah, I fucking love touring. I remember the first time I toured in a band. I was playing in Smut in New Zealand, and they were my first real band that did recording and touring and shit. And I remember the first tour, and I just went, I fucking love this. I just want to do this my entire life. Um, and so yeah, I haven't stopped yet. I mean, obviously I got a full-time job, there are limit and a family, and there are limits, but yeah, I do what I can.
I did want to touch on well, I'll go from the end piece backwards. Smut were very good. I did see them as a youngster, and that probably proves how old both of us are. Because I did see
Yep,
Smut at the art house and other places a few times, and that was a couple of years ago. So
yep.
that's amazing. That kind of kicked it off.
Well,
Um,
we broke up in '95, so yeah, it was a little while
wow.
ago.
And also I did see, yeah, when you played in Melbourne with Attrition, that was great because you also played obviously your solo stuff then with the SK, and then when you played with them, that was amazing because it was really quite different. I know you've had a few configurations where you've played techno and a few other variations, but that was really quite amazing. Like I thought, like I know Attrition's work, but it added so much to it. Like I thought it was great. It was a great, yeah, great
Yeah,
set.
cool. Cheers. I'm glad you like. Yeah, it went really well. Like, and most importantly, we got on really well. Like, and I didn't know them as people at all until we met at the first show in Perth.
Wow.
I helped organize the tour. Originally, their synth player, they've got a couple of different synth players because Attrition is Martin, And then there's a couple of different vocalists who do stuff with them and a couple of different synth players. But anyway, there was going to be someone coming to play synth. And then they pulled out like pretty fucking last minute. Um,
Wow.
and I was helping book it along with Michelle from UTM in New Zealand. And um, yeah, and then they asked Michelle, if to ask me if I know anyone who can play, who could people, or if they could get someone each night. And I said, look, fuck, I'll do it all. I'll tour the whole tour and I'll play. And it just fucking worked. I mean, I was nervous as fuck on that first show because they had sent me the music and I'd kind of fiddle around with it and then sent Martin a recording. He said, yeah, that's about it. But yeah, and to be honest, improvisation is not my strong point. Never has been. I like structure in my music. I'm not listening to. I love listening to improvised music, but when I'm like Schkeuditzer, there's nothing improvised in there. I play songs. But what I do with attrition is very improvised. I mean, yes, I do know on that song I might use that synth patch and that pedal, but then what I'm actually doing is different every time. And it's fucking cool. And it was a great experience. So we did fucking about 9 shows around Australia. It was the most, like, we played, yeah, Perth, Adelaide, Frankston, Hobart, Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, Nambour, and I feel like I missed one, but you get the general idea. Basically, that's covering a fair bit of the fucking country.
Yeah.
And we just got on really well and liked it. And then and Martin was like, well, fuck, if we ever come to the south of the world again, would you like to do it again? I'm like, fuck yeah. So then he contacted me and said, oh, we've been asked to play in Bangkok. Do you want to come? I'm like, yep, I'm there. And then again, the person who putting that on said they'd put on Schkeuditzer as well, although in my own show, rather. So the attrition show was one night. The next night was like me and a grindcore band and a noise act and in some little fucking pot shop in Bangkok, and it was cool and crazy and fun. But yeah, the attrition one was more of a sort of gothy industrial kind of night. It was really fucking nice. And then again we just got on. But yeah, and then when some people in Hong Kong found out we were going to be in Bangkok, and they said, oh well, look, fuck, if you're in Bangkok, we'll fly you over to Hong Kong and you play here. It's like, yeah, cool. And they were like an art collective, and
Awesome.
it was cool as fuck. And they were the nicest people. They made sure that they showed us around. They looked after us, and we had a cracking show in this old like Art Deco kind of building, like venue that's been going since fucking, I don't know, fucking 30s, 40s, something like that.
Wow.
Like the venue hasn't been, but the building has been there
Yeah.
as some kind of venue for that amount of time. Um, and it was fucking incredible. And still just get on really well with Martin and Alia. And so we kind of do talk about doing stuff together. Sort of, we all live in different parts of the world. Alia's in Canada and Martin's in England and I'm here, and we just do, but still we do stuff. Both of them did remixes for the remix version of the new album.
That's right. Yeah.
I will also do remixes of their stuff because I love doing remixes. Send me your remixes. I will do them.
Yeah, he's a remix king, I can tell you that.
And then Martin does mastering for a living. Like he runs a mastering studio called The Cage in Coventry that does all the Cold Spring stuff, does a lot of industrial and etc. and noise and weirdness, etc. And so he genuinely likes my music, so he mastered it and that, and he gets it, and I don't know, it just really fucking worked, and so it was cool.
Yeah, you could see
Life fucking throws cool shit at you sometimes, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's all. Yeah, those connections are really important, aren't they? You know what I mean? Because kind of thrown together that way, and it's you know, um,
Yeah.
yeah, opportunities, and yeah, I mean, that's fantastic. That's what it's about. I wanted to deep dive. So now you three albums into your band or project or whatever format you want to call it. Do how does it feel? Does it feel like this project become something that's clearly consuming you in the best possible way? Because it sounds the latest album sounds very unhinged but very focused. That's what I would notice about it.
Yeah, look, I feel like to an extent I know what the fuck I'm doing now. And I could always hear what I wanted in my head, and I made things as well as I possibly could with every record, but I didn't really know how to sort of make it happen in the way that I've kind of learned now. And yeah, I knew what sounds I wanted and I knew how to make them. And you know, the fact that those sounds are deliberate might be surprising to some, but it was actually what I was after. It's this and it's I kind of learned to balance things out a bit and make things work a bit more and in the sound and make sure that my vocals didn't get lost, but on the other hand, weren't too loud, but the drums are still fucking kicking even, it just is taking balance. And, you know, it's possible that when I listen to this album again in a year, I'll think, oh, well, I should have done that. But at the moment, I feel like I've created what I wanted to create. And it's funny, I was talking to a friend earlier tonight who about sort of, reviews and this and just the fact that people are starting people who listen to it are starting to work out where I fit. And I think it's because I've worked out how to do it, how to get it across. So it's not it fits for people a little bit. People keep on saying, early pitch shifter, fucking, which just means Godflesh. But
Yeah.
it's and I love early pitch shifter and saying these bands, and it's like, yeah, okay, I have this place that I fit. I don't feel that the idea of my music has changed heaps, but the way I'm putting it together has. Just because I've learned more. And also, when I did that first record, that the first 12-inch, the Give Me Nothing thing, I smashed that out like a fucking punk demo. It was
Yeah.
like one take, fucking fuck all layers, just smash it out. And because that's what I wanted. And that was important to me. And, we've all got those fucking first demos of bands where it's just like that. Even if they became the most sort of contrived prog rock band later, their first demos are usually have this fucking rawness and chaos to them. Yeah, and yeah, and then over time, I've been like, okay, it's always going to sound harsh and ugly, and but I can actually put some more time into creating different sounds, different feelings than this, and yeah, and then start throwing the occasional fucking dance beat in because I fucking love that shit.
I,
Which wasn't there in the first one because I didn't really know how to combine them the first record and then I kind of worked it out.
Yeah, because I think I had said to you I noticed on this record because I know other stuff that music you enjoy and that
Mm.
I can hear more that touch of I mean it's always got that dance thing through across all the releases, but
Mm.
that particular acid techno thing I could hear that certainly when you play live, but I could definitely hear it in that like in that balance of
Yeah,
everything it's coming through. Like it's still dark and grim and very punk, but it's yeah that element is raised a lot on this album, I think.
yeah, it really is. And it's partly that's because I went, fuck it. there's no reason for me not to do this. I don't, there are no rules anymore with what I'm doing. And then, I love that shit. And then I do the occasional um improvised techno show, which is just pure fucking acid techno
Yeah,
kind of stuff. And when I say that, I'm not fucking honey smack. I can't do that, and I'm not gonna even try. I'm not an expert at it, but if people are just up for sort of having a dance and fucking getting off their tits, then it works for me to do it in the background. If they stopped and thought about it too much, it probably doesn't live up to, whatever records or real techno producers or whatever, but it works.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean that takes it back to kind of the, DIY forest, forest raves, and as we've spoken about before, things like non-bossy posse and associated acts. Like
Yeah.
it's really, it wasn't a, you know, yeah, it wasn't formatted to
No, yeah,
keep
it
the
it
masses in.
wasn't it wasn't overproduced. It was just, yeah, total punk attitude using electronic instruments. And so yeah, it was all done on the fly, and it was um and then yeah, and it was focused around political actions, and then they'd make this amazing music that, yeah, it's transient, it's of its time. Like most of that music in those events, is not really made to be listened back to later. It's made for that moment, and
Time, yeah.
yeah, it's improvised like that. And so they just went with the feeling at the time, and yeah, and I love it. And I've played with Sniffer Dog a couple of times. He's who part of that whole crew, and I just, yeah, it's, yeah, I love it.
That's excellent. I want to touch on, so you've come from obviously like punk bands, and then obviously from when you played in Dark Horse, where they're kind of a lot of D beat kind of assault, to now this dystopian kind of electronica style. Was this for you? Was it always brewing in the background? I mean, you've gone over the history of the band, or was there something that made you jump to that point where you wanted to make this electronica from
It
that? I
was,
mean, I know you've explained
yeah,
before
look,
in that period, but
it is basically what I said
yeah, yeah.
before. Um, but I've always loved it.
Mm.
I've always listened to the music. I didn't really know how to make it, but I always knew that I could. But then it was just, yeah, finding the time. And then I got in a position where I had the time. And yeah, but I've always liked, ever since I just first started hearing sort of electronic industrial punk stuff, it's just like I fucking love this stuff. Yeah. Hang on, can we pause for half a second or for about a minute?
Give me 2 seconds. Let me just let's go. No worries. So I wanted to kind of get into the album and also the process that made it up. I want to talk about the opening track because it's kind of I suppose what I'd call razor wire through flesh kind of opening. Um, what is that first track designed to make people uncomfortable? Because
Yeah,
it's a big
Swan
introduction,
Grinder.
isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Look, it's uncomfortable. It is. When I remember when I first played it to Sarah, my wife, she was like, "Oh, that's just a little bit too much with the just that distorted synth. It's just distorted. It's saturated to fuck." But that's what I was after. I mean, the song itself is, yeah, it's a crust punk kind of song. It's pretty in its structure and in its beats and that. But I did want something that was really harsh right from the beginning, something that was big and ugly, and you know basically, within the first few seconds, people will know if they actually need to listen to the rest of the record. um, and yeah, that's the title track, Swan Grinder, which is actually the name It was actually taken, literally from seeing a pepper grinder in the shape of a swan, and it said Swan Grinder underneath it, like
That's
on the label.
fantastic.
And I'm like, Swan Grinder, that's the fucking best. My first thought was, if I was ever going to do a doom band, it'd be called Swan
Yeah,
Grinder. I'm like, I'm gonna make it a song, and then it's like I'm gonna make it an album. It's just, yeah, I just and yeah. So that first song, that song, to me it sets the tone for the record, and so I
yeah,
wanted something, yeah, big and uncomfortable in the sound. It's not. It's guitars are warm and fuzzy generally, and distorted synths generally are not warm.
yeah,
They're harsh and fuzzy.
yeah.
And it's
Crushing.
it's yeah, it's a juggle to make it so that it works, but it's still ugly. But I think I got it right where I wanted it.
100%. And I wanted to talk about, yeah, so who did the artwork? Because the artwork's incredible, and that's the album cover is, yeah, it's pretty amazing. Like there's a lot of album art over the years and stuff we like and don't like and variation, but it's so striking. Like yeah, I think it's incredible. So
Yeah,
yeah,
so
talk
that's
about that.
yeah, so it's this artist that goes by the name of God Wicked. I think they're in Germany, but I'm not really sure. When you're on Instagram, if you're a band, you get artists sending you shit all the time, and I always just keep tabs of what I've got, what's been sent, by who, so that I can. And then yeah, this guy, I can't remember where he first showed up, whether he sent something to me or whether I saw something. I'm just like, I fucking love his style. So this is actually the third piece of art by him that I've used, but the other two were already drawn.
Yeah.
And that's the cover for the Decide Today split.
Ah, yes.
Um, so yeah, and yeah, I was just trawling through, and like that image, which is also the t-shirt that I kind of been flogging for the last year or so. It was perfect for it. And then so yeah, when it came to this, I commissioned him obviously to do art, and this is what he came up with, and I fucking love it. It's incredibly good artwork. It's really striking, and yeah, no, I'm stoked with it. Absolutely.
It's made for posters, it's made for back patches or merch. It is
Yeah,
like the more you look at it, like yeah, the detail is incredible. So
the detail is really fucking good. I just, yeah, I fucking love it. So yeah, so that's on the cover of the album, and then there's a poster in the album of the full length of that art, because the cover cuts it,
yeah,
but the full length of that art isn't on the poster, and then has a few lines from the Swan Grinder song down the bottom for it. And then I've actually got a very limited amount of like offset printed like 900 mil by 600 mil posters made up that I'm selling at the launch show, and they look fucking incredible because the details all there. It's
was
yeah.
that on your Instagram recently or something? I see. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that looks
yeah, the
incredible.
old-fashioned printing machine that, yeah, a friend of mine, part of a printing collective here in Sydney, um called Bad Press. My friend Mickey did them. Now that machine is old, like that's totally obsolete. The guy who Mickey bought it off, well, didn't buy it off. He bought it from what do you call it, when a business goes bankrupt and they sell off everything. And Mickey bought it for $50, and the guy had paid 15 years ago, had paid a couple of 100,000 for it or something. But it's obsolete, it's dead tech. But I love it because you can print shit digitally now so easily and so cheaply.
Hmm.
So like with these big machines just are not, yeah, they're not part of the industry
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
And but yeah, fuck, it looks fucking cool. I probably will do t-shirts of it eventually once I get bored of selling the ones that I've got going at the
Prints.
moment with the with a beautiful quote, but from that random person on the back of them. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I wanted so you handled all the production. You mentioned before, obviously, so the final touch was from Martin at the cage, I think you said, but
yeah,
you handled all the production. How how important was it that this vision was, you followed it through, obviously from constructing all the parts of it
yeah,
and then the production,
yeah.
not getting outsiders to step in from the production wise.
Yeah, look, it's important. I do. I mean, I don't get outsiders for production at all. I do sometimes send things as songs to the. Yeah, I got a couple of friends who know their shit, and I might send them something and ask an opinion and just to get a second opinion. Because when you record with a band, you can say, nah, that guitar solo sucks, or maybe try a little bit of this. But when it's just you, I feel I need to occasionally get a second opinion. Or sometimes it's more just that I'm really fucking excited by a piece of music I've made and I want to share it with someone. Um, so yeah, and for the most part, like some songs happen really fucking quickly, and I will write and record them in a matter of days, and then I'll mix them down the track. But other ones might be 6 months of work. I'll I'll record a drum beat and then maybe not do anything with it for 3 months, and then maybe chuck some kind of synth bass line over it, and it'll develop over time. That the song on the album Trips and Trepidation, and I put the drum together for that ages, months beforehand, and then I was literally driving home from work, and I came up with the line "Trips and Trepidation." I was like, fuck, don't forget this. Press record on my phone, said "Trips and Trepidation," and then got home, and the song fell into place from that, just from that idea of horror techno, like
Yeah, yeah.
techno that's not about feeling happy at all. It's so yeah. And then yeah, I put that that when you hear it, it's got like this sort of starts with this like takeoff of Psycho. Like it's not it's just me playing on the synth, but it's the same
Yeah.
and it's just like yeah, and it. But it took months to put together. But and yeah, so some songs are quick, sometimes take a while. But that's the thing. I've got my shit set up
Yeah.
at all times. It's connected to my computer at all times. So I press one button and it records. So
Wow.
any idea that comes to mind at any time, I can just record it, cool, come back to it. Um, and that's kind of probably the most essential thing. Like half the shit wouldn't come together if I couldn't do that. I this cat where I'm sitting now. So this is a cabin out the back of my house that I built like 6 years ago. Um, and I work here as well, like my day job. So, my day job is on the computer here, and then I turn 90 degrees to the right, and there's my music stuff. So, when you work in an office, every now and again, you'll get up and stand up and go to the coffee machine just to fucking change your focus. I can just turn around and fucking play some noise. Um, and I finish work, and every day after work, I'll either run through a set or do work on a new song and spend like half an hour to an hour pretty much every day just on it, minimum. So which and that's I'm lucky. I've got this. I built this space and it works. Yeah,
I mean, that's incredible. Yeah. And it's funny how you mentioned because I remember seeing an interview with, one of the most famous components of electronic music, Brian Eno, and that's what he said. The
Yeah,
key thing of recording those things, and he's even got there's a an interview with him. He's got this database of all these things, and then sometimes he can even reconfigure them. But just capturing that
yep.
moment is key, isn't it? Really?
Capture everything. So I've got that permanently ready to record just by pressing one button, and then I've got so that I record. I use Reaper, which is
Mm.
the recording program. But then I've also got Audacity on the computer, which is just set up to loop record. So any noise that the computer makes, it records if I press record. So if I'm
Wow.
fucking scrolling reels or fucking watching something or whatever, just one button and it can rip samples. So it's all, and because if you go, I should do this later, you won't. Well, that's me. Okay, I should speak for myself. If I go, I'll do this later, I will not do that later. I have to do it now or it will never happen. I try, got a whiteboard behind me and I try and take notes and fucking all this, but yeah, with sound stuff, it's got to be there.
Yeah, it's got. Yeah, you got. I don't think you need that gap in between or anything that's going to be you know, an obstacle to what it, or an obstacle or time delay is not helpful. But then you're capturing it, and then whatever form, as you said, could be years or months down the track before you use one part of it.
Yeah, I mean, and like I use my phone as well when I'm out and about. If I get an idea, I will unashamedly sit there and record myself going da, 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 with a piece, a melody or a rhythm or something, and I'll just make those noises into the phone so that they can get home with me. Not all of them are great ideas, but they're all there and they're all permanently there, which means, yeah, maybe a couple of years down the track, I'm doing my next album and I'll be like, there's that bit, there's that thing, or that thing that I recorded on the Zoom recorder when I was out and about, and you know that. Yeah,
Yeah, no, no. I think
it's
that's
just
fantastic. I wanted you to talk me through the way that you layer these sounds because obviously you've got that punk, fury or background to it, but at the same time, it's as you commented earlier, there's a bit of structure to it. So how do you? I suppose what I'm saying is how do you balance a spontaneous kind of rage with the precision of electronics?
yeah. I don't know. I mean, part of it's the fact that most of the synth stuff I do is not sequences. It's me physically playing a keyboard, which means it's imperfect, and that kind of is part of it. There are, there's bits of sequence stuff in quite a lot in some of the songs, but not in a lot of them. There's yeah, me playing it. There's imperfect, and it's kind of for me that gives it a more immediate feeling.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's that, and that's usually in some songs like all of the synths are just me playing them, and I've just make them like that. Some of them will have a sequenced bass line or whatever, but there's some element of randomness in there or of imperfection in there, and that kind of works for me. So yeah, I have a bunch of machines that I use, and I more or less know most of the time if I can hear a sound in my head, I'm pretty sure what machine can make that sound. Now, and so yeah, just is, and then but there is trial and errors. Some of these songs had a whole lot of different things in there, and then I pull them back out because it's like no, too much, too. So yeah, it's playing around and a lot of trial and error, but and then yeah, just build the layers. It's one thing I've always loved watching bands with two drummers. It's not been heaps of them, but whether it's fucking Ministry back then, Buttholes back then, both of them had phases of that. Whether there's been a few of them. I played in one called Bastardos for a while in the 90s. But, and then particularly on this album, I'm like, well, fuck, I can do that by having, now, of course, you could do that with one drum machine and that's easy. But the way I prefer to do it is I use my main drum machine to do the most, which is a sample-based machine, so I can get the harsher sounds in it and this kind of thing. And then I'll have the, Behringer 909 knockoff doing more traditional analog drum sounds over the top. And that I really like the way the two can work together. And yeah, it's just, yeah, basically, as I think I said earlier, with this album, I got to the point where I'm like, fuck, there's no rules to what I can do here. I can make whatever makes me happy. So that's when I started experimenting more with that kind of shit. It was like, yeah. So
Yeah.
just, yeah, build the layers, play with the machines and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly, I mean, what you spoke to earlier about the progression over that, it builds all the time and there's different layers that are kind of coming through with each release, it's more experimental, but as I said earlier, it sounds very, even more focused. Now you've on some of the earlier releases, you've done a cover on, an earlier release, and this one is a particularly amazing one. I was, yeah, very surprised because I didn't know it was coming. So the Crass cover, obviously, Systematic Death. Um, it's it's recognizable, but really quite different. How do you think that kind of
Yeah.
translates into where we are now, 2025? I mean,
Well,
sound wise, and
it
also,
works.
yeah, everything else.
Yeah, well, it wasn't actually my idea. I love Crass and I've loved them from the first. I know this woman, Nikki, played me Crass when I was fucking 16 years old, and I just went, holy fucking shit, and everything changed. Um, I love Crass. I had thought about covering them before, but had the songs that I thought of would be kind of too a bit dull. Like, do they always living, yeah, it's cool and it's fun, but it's a little bit, it's the easy option, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, and then yeah, my friend in Sweden, Michaela, she was one of the people who put vocals on that first recording I was talking about, where I sent
Oh,
things
yeah.
to people around the world. She did vocals on one of the songs, and now I had met her over there. Then she had been over here for a while, and we caught up here and just get on. And then yeah, when I went back to Sweden last time, well, went back and played in Sweden, she was there, and then yeah, she wrote to me and said, "Look, I've always wanted to cover this song, but I've never found a band that would do it. Would you do it?" And I'm like, "Yes, yes, I would. Give me a few days." And about 3 or 4 days later, I sent her back the music and just said, "How's this?" And she's like, "Fuck yeah!" And so yeah, it ended up taking quite a while for her to get the vocals done because the person who was going to record them ended up getting really sick, and yeah, there was a whole lot of things. But
Yeah.
I knew it was going to happen, and it did. And I changed the music and played with it more, but the basics of it was there very quickly. Um, I want. It's a lot lighter sounding than the rest of the album, but that's kind of deliberate, in part because of reading stories about Penny Rimbaud sort of stopping bands on Crass label from sounding too tough deliberately in the recording. I'm like, yeah, okay. And so it's part because of that, but it's also I didn't want to swamp her vocals because they're fucking incredible. Her voice is just amazing. And so yeah,
Yeah.
um I sat down for like took me some hours to write it all, but the bass lines are on like a 303 bass synth, and I actually programmed them all in and then actually played it. Like I did have to stop and start it like twice, but it actually played it. And so with it's all very, very live, that bass line. Because the anger of Crass and the anger of the vocals and the chaos of the noise is there, but their fucking bass lines were always amazing and bouncy, and they are what made Crass. That's why it's so enduring, is because it's very listenable because of that, because of the bass lines. And so I wanted a bass line that was kind of worthy of that. And to me, it was like, okay, yeah, I'll take the synth that is acid acid techno, and I'll use that to make a punk bass line. And that, yeah, and it was just fun. And it's, yeah, it's not something that could ever, yeah, I doubt that that song will ever be, it's not going to happen live, even though we've talked about it with Michaela that if we're ever in the same country, maybe we could, but I wouldn't be able to play it all. It's quite difficult,
Mm.
quite complex. But yeah, it's fun, and it's such a fucking good song, and you know, it's as real now as it ever was.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's a gem. I think yeah, it sits well in the, in the kind of the way that the album kind of rolls across. But yeah, her vocals are amazing, as I said, and I agree on the bass line. It's a big prominent thing about it. So you obviously come from, as we've touched on a little bit, you've come from the DIY anarcho crust punk community, whatever we want to kind of put it under that
Yeah,
kind of
that's
umbrella. What are the what are some of the key foundations that have obviously carried you along on a lot of tours and with each release? I know
I
that's
don't
a
know.
broad
It's just
question.
because the whole scene worldwide is just people helping each other out with shit, and yes, there are sometimes a financial side to that. Releasing a record is not free, but there's still, it's all connections with people that I know and that I've met on other tours, or when I've been traveling, or when they've been traveling or on tour. And it's just that, you know, I you know so a friend in Germany contacts me and saying his friend's band from Holland is coming to Australia. So yeah, of course I put on a show. And then I'm heading back, and that person from Holland then helps me out with the show. But even if he couldn't, that's okay. It's not you don't do things so that that person will pay you back. That's kind of defeats the purpose. You just make cool shit happen because it's really cool and great when cool shit happens. I'm happy to put on a show because I like shows. Um, and that's it. And I've toured a fair bit over the years, and I've just met a whole lot of people and got on with them and stayed in touch. And there's people putting on shows for this Europe tour that I'm about to start who I met when I was touring in Europe, like in 2004, and we've just stayed in contact, and we just, and that's it. We're not, I don't want anyone to go, I want people to do things to help my band out if it's not actually good for them. I want them to be getting something out of it, whether it's making sure they cover costs or whether it's just they get to have a really good night and
Yeah,
enjoy it or whatever. I don't I don't want to be a fucking drag for people. I don't want to be difficult. I want them to have fun, and I really appreciate the amount of work because it takes a fuckload of work to put on a show, you know. And in Europe, a show, putting on a show, I say I want to play at this place, and that person has to either then work out, get the venue, then they'll work out either support acts or there'll be other bands touring around, getting them all together. Then in Europe, they'll feed you dinner, they'll have somewhere for you to stay, they'll feed you breakfast. It's a big fucking job, and I really fucking appreciate it, and I try and do the same thing for other people, and I kind of always have. When me and Sarah first got together, we were putting on shows, and at a venue in Germany, and they're cooking. I loved cooking up feeds for touring bands and
Yeah.
giving them something good and this and that. That's it. You know, DIY doesn't mean, or that punk thing doesn't mean that no one's allowed to make any money out of anything. That doesn't work. It's just not the driving factor. The driving factor is community and saying what you want to say and just being a part of that community and all this kind of stuff. That's what it's about.
Yeah, that never changes, does it really? So that's the, I mean, that's obviously, yeah,
No.
it carries on. It's not, that's not going to change, So, um, on to a less serious thing. I want to talk about Keep Dancing. So it's kind of almost sardonic, considering how the crushing weight around the whole song. Um, are you
Yeah.
mocking people's ability to dance while everything burns, or what's the story?
No. So
Or
so
dancing
the
with
the
the,
lyrics for
or you
that.
just want to be on Dancing with the Stars?
Well, the opening lines to that song, keep dancing on the graves of the dead, of those
Yeah.
with no fucking mercy for those that they bled. It's about celebrating the death of fuckwits. It's which is a that's what it is, and it's about the whole song is it's a protest song in the classic punk sense. It's a fighting back song. It's about support. It's about community. It's about um you know, staying there, staying part of it, keep fighting back. If someone can't fight, then for whatever reason, be there for them. And so, yeah, it's about community. I mean, that those first lines, that it is a bit silly, but it's also, you know, the Luigi thing, right?
Yeah.
When old mate in the States went and capped that cunt. And the fucking and people were like, fuck yeah, and made a bit of party of it. And people were like, oh, how could you, how, this poor man died. And it's just like, and so that's kind of where it came from. But yeah, the song itself is dancey as fuck in a really ugly way. And it's a mix of fucking mid-paced hardcore and gabba.
Yeah.
So, and it just works. And it's got a lot of fucking words. And they all the words spilled out of me in like one sitting. I just sat there and just smashed them all out. I came back and changed like 3 words afterwards, but it just fucking happened.
Wow.
And I recorded them like that. I kept them like that. I've gone back afterwards and gone, oh, there's 1 or 2 words that I probably would have done differently, but yeah, it's like, nah, just fucking go with what spewed out of me because that's obviously what was on my mind.
Uh,
And it's hard as fuck to sing live.
I
I
would
mean, I
imagine.
do it and I play it, but it's hard. It's so many fucking words and it's fast. And I do it at the end of a set when I'm already fucking ragged. But
And you have a bit of
it's
a boogie.
yeah,
You have a bit of a boogie with it too.
yeah.
I'm saying,
Bit
yeah,
of jumping around,
yeah, yeah.
bit of being silly, and this. It's yeah, because fuck, I find the music I make quite danceable, and I like jumping around, and I like fucking dancing too. I just fucking love it. Whether it's fucking slamming around to punk stuff or whether it's fucking, you know, dancing in a goth club the other weekend or whether it's fucking techno. I like dancing. It makes me happy. And the music I make to me is dancey, even if it's not to everyone. So I'll jump around on stage while I'm doing it and do my thing. But you saw me with Dark Horse as well. I've never been that person who stands still on stage.
No. I was
It's
about to
not
say that
it.
you're always dynamic. It's not, and sometimes with no shoes on and no whatever, you're
Yeah.
just like you're in the
I
in
worked I
the
worked out
moment.
how to yeah, I don't have to go barefoot anymore. And the reason why I used to when it was Schkeuditzer is because I only ever wore boots. And I've got so many pedals going on that I couldn't actually
Feel
get
or
them right with these big bolus
yes.
fucking boots that I wore. I
I had
kept
a
on
friend.
smashing like 3 pedals at once, and then yeah. So, but no, I've got it sorted now.
So what do you
Yeah, it's fun and it's free.
exactly? So what do you want your audiences to feel when they're confronted with this album live? Is it catharsis? Is it celebration, like you said about dancing, revolution, discomfort? What's
All of the above,
yeah,
really.
yeah,
Like they're, across the songs from the album that I actually play live, there is that thing. I mean, I want my shows to be enjoyable. Yeah, it's not going to be enjoyable for everyone, and I've most shows. It's not unusual for one or two people to leave a room when I play because it's really not for everyone. But then other people are like fucking really drawn by it. And but yeah, look, I want it to be fun. Yeah, I'm singing about serious topics and whether it's serious political topics or the other half of my songs, which are basically me just my own mental health fucking mess, and it's just getting that shit out and like screaming my inadequacies into an audience, and but I want it to be fun. I don't want it to be like I like going and seeing noise acts that are not necessarily fun, that are challenging, that can be, it's something that I can really get into, not every night, or whatever, but and like I've met since I've been doing this, I've met some fucking incredible noise artists that make sounds that make you want to die. And that's fucking great, but it's not what I'm after. What I'm after is
yeah.
for people to have a good time with it because I am writing songs. I'm writing punk songs and they're just on different instruments. And if people can jump up and down and have fun or dance or just get lost in it, then cool. Nice one. Yeah.
Uh,
I don't talk much between songs basically because I like one song to just bleed into the next, bleed into the next. I'll say a couple of words and that's it. But it's just yeah, it's that's the enjoyment.
I wanted to talk about the closer of the album. So that's for impulse control.
Poor impulse control.
Yeah,
Yeah.
now I want to, it seems to be kind of almost the manifesto of everything you've done on it because it's kind of like everything's not that there's not. I mean, all the songs are pretty aggressive and dynamic, but it's about that kind of that almost losing control towards the end. So it's amazing closer, by the way. It's just do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so okay, that is actually the song I wrote last as well. So it's got a lot more weird, fucked up, like traditionally industrial sounds in it. There's
Yeah.
fucking chains and there's rubbish bins. You look at the track list on that song and it's like chairs, chain in bin. And then I got this noise shaker from I ordered it from a guy in Germany. It's a really nice thing. And to be honest, I ordered it after playing with a band in Nagoya in Japan, a band called Noise Concrete Sanchigo, and they're a two-piece band, and one of them has a noise, standard noise shaker going through distortions, but the way he used it, my mind just fucking blew. I was just like, I never thought of that, and like I did not at all trying to be him, and I fucking couldn't because they sound like Merzbow meets Massive Attack. It's fucking
Yeah.
crazy and it's so good. And I'm not trying and I can't be, but it was like, I can hear how I can make some of that sound fit in with some of what I'm doing. So I've chucked some of that. There's some harsh noise in there. The song title comes from Neil Stephenson novel Snow Crash, which I went through, yes, another phase of reading fucking cyberpunk classics, which I do from time to time. Um, and yeah, like I started when I did that choke split with Decide Stay. I really started with it there. I was reading, went back right back to fucking iRobot and all that, and then going
Wow.
forward. And I just got back into it. So when I was, and just that thing about the whole concept of rules for robots and rules for androids, which are obviously really they're rules for people. That's what it's about. It's about community and it's about
Yeah.
civilization. Anyway, so yeah, fast forward, ended up on Snow Crash again when I was doing this album, and yeah, just whether you read it or not, there's one of the characters has poor impulse control tattooed across his forehead, um, and even though that character in the book is not someone that you'd want to be, and I don't, but the whole thing of just poor impulse control, that whole is how to describe a lot of my struggles with mental health issues and how they've turned into physical health issues because I haven't stopped myself from doing shit, particularly pre-medication. Anyway, I didn't write lyrics for it. I just turned the microphone on and screamed what came to mind. There's only half a dozen lines in it.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, and it came together, and it is very much a closer track, and it was all I knew that when I was writing it that it was going to be the last track. Um, and it feels like it, and it works for me. I'm really happy with it how it came out. And then I don't play that live as such, but I've done another mix of that song called Poor Impulse Control Missed Meds Mix, where I speed that up to 240 BPM, and
Wow.
it's fast and fucking chaotic and fucking bonkers. And that's coming out on a B side of a 7-inch that's coming out in October after I come back from. So the A side will be Keep Dancing, that song, and then the B side will be the 240 BPM version of Poor Impulse Control.
Wow.
And that's coming out. There's a breakcore crew up here called 200 plus BPM is my safe space, and they're putting it out in October, November kind of thing. So yeah, should be
I'd
fun.
buy that. I'd buy that.
It
That's fantastic. Um, so it, so Swan Grinder obviously seems like a complete statement. What what's going next? Because you're sort of
yeah, but
is there new
it,
territories
it
to explore?
yeah, I don't know. I don't actually have any new songs on the go right now because I haven't even released this one.
Yeah.
I'm not totally sure, but going back to me doing the stuff with attrition, where I'm doing the improvised stuff. So I'm doing that, and then I've also got some kind of side projects that are not there yet, but it's sort of coming together. One of which is doing sort of soundtrack music for a friend's trauma spoken word stuff. Then the also, and then got some friends up here in the mountains who do these amazing like dark ambient nights. And I've just been playing around with that kind of sound. Now I'm not going to suddenly turn Schkeuditzer Kreuz into that, but some of the things I've been learning making this other music, which is also just dark, ugly electronic music. It's just a totally different vibe, though. Some of that, I'm like, well, I could put this together with some beats here and then do this, and I can make, you know. And so I've got things running around in my head, not songs, not any kind of structure, but a concept that I
Yeah,
could
yeah.
develop. And I say that now. I mean, fuck, I might come back from Europe and go, no, I'm going to write fucking 10, 30-second hardcore songs and do that instead. I don't
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
know. But at the moment, I can hear these ideas. I love, like, as I said, I'm going to do this soundtrack stuff for this guy. And then Sarah's got a friend up here who's looking for someone to do soundtracks for her actual filmmaking, which and we're trying to sort of make time to talk about. I love soundtracks, and I
Yeah.
don't mean like a whole lot of songs in a row, like, but actual soundtrack score music. I really like, and I listen to a lot. And the whole concept of just taking someone's feeling and moving it with the move of a fucking key change is just amazing. And now, yeah, I'm not going to suddenly become an ambient act, but I've got some thoughts of some weird shit that I could do that'd be might be quite fun and might end up as Schkeuditzer stuff or might not.
Because
Because yeah,
there's so many. I mean, because
there's no rules.
there's no rules, and I was going to say there's so many textures and layers, and inter, interlaid with that is emotion as well. Do you know what I mean? Like feeling,
Yeah.
and that there's just it's so broad, and as you know, we have all of us have a lot of talented friends that are just so many variations, even just in that electronic kind of space. So
Fuck yeah.
yeah,
I've met so many fucking amazing, inspiring people all over the place. Fucking from, everywhere I go, up in Nambour, like up in like Danny up there doing her just incredible fucking heartfelt harsh noise to Puddle in Brisbane down to fucking Melbourne is just everyone in Melbourne has a harsh noise act. Basically. But yeah, every time I go down there, I'll play with someone new who'll just be like, that is fucking incredible. And I'm getting those all, everywhere I go all over the world, I just come across these people who just have taken their machines and decided to do their own thing with them. And there's no limits to what you can do with this shit. And yeah, it's just fucking great. And I love what you're doing with your stuff with knife and that electronic like drum machines to that it's that early pitch shift and column flash kind of vibe, and I fucking love it. And then we get this remix shit happening. So when you release an album, and then I'll do a remix of a song, and then I'll get all these people, and we all that's one of the really cool things about electronic music that guitar music doesn't do as much as you get these collaborations happening all the fucking time, all over the world. I mean, yeah, you do with guitar music. You might jam with friends, but you can, it's on a different level in my experience. There's probably guitar people out there saying, no, I do that all the time. But I haven't experienced that. Um, and I love it. I can fucking turn around, I can make a beat, send it to a friend in fucking Spain. He'll chuck some fucking synth on it. Someone else would, and just create something. And it's fucking gold. And this is it feels quite leveling, and because and you don't need a shit ton of equipment to do it. I've got quite a bit that I've built up over the years, but I've seen someone stand there with free apps on their phone and make cool as fuck electronic music live on the spot.
wow,
Um, and I've seen, like the people I talked about, and the guy, the Noise Concrete, and just watching them do it. They've got, some of the same equipment I've got, and making music that's fucking worlds apart, but we love what each other's doing because it all comes from the same place. Or seeing the harsh noise power electronics people doing their things, and for the most part, that is stuff that I want to see live. I'm not going to sit down very often and listen to a record of it.
yeah.
There are some exceptions, but not many. But I fucking love that it happens. Um, and yeah, or watching fucking, oh my God, so many fucking things. Like they're just so many people doing incredibly cool shit. And every time I leave the fucking house to play music, I get inspired by someone else. I played with Grandpa Previously just to see him the other week, playing his glass, and I hadn't actually seen him before because I play a lot, so I don't actually get to as many gigs as I might have otherwise done. Because yeah, that's is the nature of it. If you're playing all the time, you don't always get to something else. But yeah, or I played in Maitland with like Defectro, who's fucking like mind-numbingly, just mind-blowingly fucking insanely good. And it's just people creating shit, and it inspires me all the time. So every time I come back from a tour, or even if it's just a gig, I come back wanting to make more. I never come back going, oh, again. It's never like that. Never bored of it. It fucking inspires. Every time I go out, I want to go out more and do more and see more, and and collaborate more with people,
I know, because
because that's fun.
and when if you ever hear people say no one's making any good music anymore or whatever, it's like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, it's just,
Yeah. No, it's fucking
it's insane.
that's
Like,
just
it's just,
fucking dumb.
like
It
they're like,
there are there are a lot of people who stopped really listening, looking out for new music when they got to their 30s. And so for them, the music of their late 20s is always going to be the best music that was ever made, So, whether that's fucking was 90s grunge, whether it was, I hate to even fucking say it, but whether that was Led Zeppelin or
yeah,
fucking shit like that,
yeah,
people just get stuck and go, nothing since then's been good. And it's just fucking bullshit. And these
yeah.
days, you know, okay, most of the discoveries I have, yes, are live experiences, but I spend a lot of time just finding shit on the computer as well. Most days I will listen to a band that I've never heard before, at least one, or band or act or something. It might just be while I'm working in the background, and then I'll be like, hang on, nah, pay more attention because that's fucking sick. And just there's heaps of good stuff heaps of good stuff happening. And bands are not they're not bands aren't selling as much stuff as they used to. They're not getting as much money from playing, and there's because that's just the nature, because most people just listen to stuff online. But there's fucking cool shit out there, and that online thing like can be great to discover new shit, but until you actually go out and watch it live, you're kind of still missing out a little bit,
It's a big layer to
because
it.
I mean, that's the whole spot. Is the thing is, I wanted to be live. I wanted to play
Yeah,
live. I wanted it to be a punk show. I didn't want to. I love Kraftwerk, but I didn't want to be standing there doing
yeah.
because it's not me, And yeah, just that interactive part of the audience and part of everything, and it's that's what I want, and that's what I'm creating, and that's what I love.
No, it's fantastic. Um, I'm getting towards the end because I've asked you quite a lot, but one big question I wanted to ask about your extensive tour with hardly any breaks. How are you going to survive that? Because I had a look at it and there was like, is it maybe 3 or 4 days in the whole? So it's
Yeah,
for a
there's
long
like
time with hardly any breaks.
yeah. Look, actually, on this one, I'm not going alone. I'm taking a friend with me.
Fantastic.
Last time I went to Europe, I did it all by myself, and it was great. It was fun, and it was cool, and it was great. And I did. It ended up being like 26 or 27 gigs or something last time in pretty much as many days. There was like a couple of days off here or there. This time it's sort of coming up towards around 32 gigs in about 36 days. And yeah, I'm taking a friend with me. They came with me to Japan as well, and they know their shit. They can drive. Although I will end up doing most of the driving, because I love driving. But it's keeping things safe, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not young. I do get tired, and just having someone else to drive, but also there's practical sides to it as well. Like, when you're touring, you know, selling merch is really important when you're touring. You sell most merch in the 20 minutes between your last note playing, like after that 20 minutes, and then it's over. And that during those 20 minutes, usually I want to be somewhere else by myself having a quiet beer. And if there can be someone else selling the merch, then that makes my life easier. But yeah, and it's enjoying myself as well. And so yeah, they're coming with me, and um but yeah, it's a lot of stuff. I'm going to some places I've never been, and there are a lot of days, in a row. The first, I think, 15, 14 something dates, it's with no breaks at all. And it will get tired. And there's a couple of flights in that as well. It's like I'm playing Kreuzlingen in Switzerland on a Thursday night, drive straight after playing, drop a little bit of stuff at a friend's place in Mainz on, drive, it's 4 hours, drive up to Frankfurt, get on an early morning plane, fly down to Tbilisi in Georgia, and play there that night. And yeah, that's going to be tiring. I'm going to be tired at the
Yeah,
end of it, but I'll also be doing the fucking coolest shit imaginable. So
yeah,
that's okay. I
yeah,
can deal with a bit of tiredness.
yeah. That's it. So when we post the interview, we'll have all those dates and stuff on there. So yeah, because obviously the way that the World Wide Web works, so people can, uh, you know, catch your wisdom on this. Do you have any parting messages, thoughts, or life advice for people from the SK world?
Fucking, I don't know. Like my motto for has always been kind of a sort of, it seemed like a good idea at the time kind of thing, just throwing myself at whatever, and I continue to do it, and it continues to work. And yeah, no, fuck. I'm lucky, and I'm happy, and yeah, I'm just really glad to be doing it, and come along and check it out. You might not hate it.
It's a great album. We reviewed it recently, and I'm a fan of the music, but the latest record will blow your socks off. It sounds like a real cliche, but it's super intense. Check out the video too. Is it Sirens of Death? Is that right?
Sirens of Death, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic clip by the way. And so people should
Yeah,
check
thanks.
that out.
Yeah, so that's Guy David who does Grim Reflections, and he made it, and it's entirely his vision. Like I sent him the song, sent him the lyrics, gave him a little bit of a I don't like this, these few things. And so, and then he put that together, and like the editing is fucking immaculate. Like the
Yeah.
amount of cuts and edits is fucking bonkers, and it's perfect. And yeah, so yeah, that's thanks. I'm glad you like it. I fucking love it. I'm really happy with it. Yeah, video like the first couple of videos. I'm not going to start on a long thing now because we are winding up. But the first couple of videos for Schkeuditzer were things that I made myself because that's where I was at that time.
Yeah, yeah.
And then once I sort of went out of that and started getting other people to make it, the quality just improves because video is not my thing. I don't know how to do it. I could learn, but I don't want to. I just want to play music. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's like it's this thing. I know quite a lot of good artists, like visual artists, and so I pay them for art. I, you know, supporting other artists, how can we expect the rest of the world to support us if we're not even supporting each other, right? So, if you want art, you don't fucking do AI fucking slop. You find an artist that you like and you say, how much do you charge? And you pay them. And if you can't afford it, then you don't, then find another artist, work something else out, but don't fucking, yeah, support each other wherever you can, because that's what it's about. And so paying people to do videos for me is part of that. I've got friends, I know people who are really good motion visual artists, so pay them to fucking do clips.
Yeah, and the end products,
And
those last couple have been, yeah, amazing. You know, like it's hard graft to make it yourself, but yeah, that's a world of difference. And the same thing, I agree with what you're saying about people, even in the own band that I've got as well, the same thing. You find that as artists, you pay them as well as credit them, and talk about them and stuff.
yep,
So it's a given, and what people can do is they can buy the physical items on Bandcamp as well. And if they go to a show,
yep,
buy a record, buy some merch.
yep,
That's what we have to do. So,
yep. Support each other. It's from about.
oh,
So
Kieran,
yeah, that's my advice. Support each other. That's what it's
yeah,
about.
that's it,
That's it.
big time. All right, well, thanks very much for your time. This is going to go out before
Thanks heaps for having me.
you head overseas and on this endless trip. So, thank you very much. Buy the record. We'll have all the links. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Cheers.
Cheers.
See you later.